Alright, this side's got oil all the way through. Not as much as I'd like, but my battery apparently is not taking a charge, go figure. So let me see if I can change the battery out. Alright, so I've cranked it over quite a bit, and I do have good oil. I have oil all the way back to the very end. Everything is oiling like it's supposed to. So I'm going to tell you, we just got faulty cam followers. And it really stinks because, you know, I'm not willing to take a chance on that cam because I don't want to do this job again. It's not exactly fun to begin with. So, that being said, we can see that there's no valve, no lash adjusters or cam followers kicked out on this side. There's no lobes ground down. New cam phaser on this side, new timing chain on this side, and I can see it's not going to show up well there, but hey, look at my ego. The light's got a hold of me. Anyways, I can see down in here what appear to be new guides and tensioners, but it's just too dark to tell for certain. But anyways, the front cover's got to come off anyhow. You guys know how this works. We'll start with the fan shroud and the fan clutch, and we'll get all this out of here and get the front of the motor taken down. Shouldn't take very long at all. And hopefully it's about, well, I don't know what time it is. I don't have the clock out here. But it's warm enough for me to go ahead home and grab a drink real quick. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to grab a drink. When I come back, I'll show you we got the timing cover off. And I probably just wait until I got the heads off now. Unless I find something in the timing cover. If I find something you guys will want to see, or something to note, or something I think about, I'll bring you back. But otherwise, I'll bring you back as soon as I got the heads off. This is the damper bolt. It holds the damper pulley on, harmonic balancer, whatever you want to call it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You hope not a shop, because I mean that's a ridiculous amount of extra RTV in there, and what a mess. I mean, you can see it in here. If you've got RTV in your threads like this, the likeliness that you didn't get a good torque is pretty high. You know, it's not accurate. There's even some on the end of it too. I'm almost to the cover. I got to get my puller, get that balancer off, and I can get 4 bolts out of the bottom, get the power steering pump off, and we can pull the cover, see what we got. Oh, that wind's kicking up. That breeze feels nice, that's for sure, but unfortunately it's bringing in thunderstorms, which means I'll have to cut loose today. I won't get this done unless I shove it inside, and then it'll be so loud because of the steel roof you won't be able to hear me. So I better get my butt back to work. Quit flapping my trap. Okay, so I'm down to getting the timing cover off, and I really fought the bottom bolts of this timing cover, and I'm going to show you why. Look at this mess. Look at this. Makes these bolts so stinking hard to get out. You're already standing on your head. You know, this seal on this oil pan does not require, look at all that. That wasn't even in place. That was just ready to fall into the pickup tube. Look at that. Wonder what was pinched here. I'm not sure what's going on there, but you know, oh man, a thin layer goes a long way. And there's 2 different types of RTV on here. A blue colored stuff that I'm not familiar with, like a green, and the black. And then it looks like you still end up using the original factory timing cover seals and didn't even replace them. They just put more of that blue garbage on it. It's all over the place. And then there's black up here where the head meets the block. I don't know. But when you tear this apart, what you're supposed to do with these, let me show you. I don't know. Everybody does everything different, but if I'm going to do it, I'm sure not going to take a chance on a used seal that might leak. That's way too much work to have to go back and fix that. Alright, let's get it apart. Here's the back side of the timing cover, and man, I would have taken the time to clean that, because eventually that chunk crap is going to accumulate thicker and thicker, and it's going to end up in the oil pickup. we'll be cleaning this up good, that's for sure. So I hate going behind people. I'd just as soon take it from never been touched than that, because, you know, it's just upsetting. You know, there's a right way to do things. I mean, I don't know, it looks like they had good intentions, because somebody put, that's a new oil pump in there. It's an aftermarket oil pump, it looks like. I don't know. It's hard to see. Well, whoever it was has a grinding wheel on an air grinder. Whoever did this, because you can see the marks in the head right there from the die grinder when they clean this up. And you can see the marks behind the tensioner. Man, I'd like to say this wasn't a shop, but I mean, who does this? Look at that mess. Well, what are you gonna do? Maybe that's why it's here with me. I mean, you can see. I mean, this looks like it had a wiring harness pinched in it when they put it together. That's what that reminds me of. But I didn't see any wiring harness in there, and there isn't one that runs down here. But man, look at all that extra silicone just waiting to get in the pickup tube. Anyhow, okay, time to bring this stuff up on top dead center, get my tool, start inspecting and see where we're at. Well, at least they had the tone ring going the right way. Didn't clean it, but that's alright. If we fix this engine, we'll clean it up and do everything it's supposed to be. Alright, let me get this brought up on top dead center here. Okay, got it all apart. Got my timing tool on here. And you can see we're on the R on the passenger side where it should be. And we're on the L on this side. But when I was cranking it over, I had another noise on this side I could hear, and look here. This tensioner, the whole time I'm rolling this over, isn't holding tension, it just keeps falling back in. It's got an L on it like it's been replaced. That looks like it's been replaced, cleaned up. And so does the other one. But this one's not holding tension. They have the right one on this side. And I only assume this is the right guide on this side. Looks like it. But I don't know. So now we're going to take the phasers off. Now normally we would pull out there's 3 different cam followers you pull out, and what it does is makes it so all the valves are in a neutral position where there's no tension on the cam lobe because of it wanting to push a valve open, so this valve spring would not have pressure against it to want to turn this, to smack a valve against a piston. It's really not a concern for us, so we get on top dead center, we're going to crack this loose, and once we get our phaser off here, I'm still going to take vice grips and I'm going to grab a hold of that cam at 2 locations, one this way and one the opposite, so it can't rock either way, and then we'll take it apart and then we'll take the head off that way. Just a little preventative deal there, and do the same thing on the other side. So let me get this timing apart. We're not going to have to mark the lobes with the paint like I've done before because all of this is coming apart, so it's not going to matter. Okay, we got the heads off, exception of the antifreeze in there. You can see a little bit of scoring, but you can still see cross hatches in that. Can you see that in the camera? And you can still see them. Still see them in that one. And you can still see them in there. Still see them in there. And I can still faintly make them out of here. Alright, are we ready for the number 1 that didn't have any compression? Ready to see it? There you go. Which means if this, that is in there, which means if it's stuck in there like this, where's the stem? Wrapped around the crank or something? Let's see. Let's see if we can get this out of here. Looks like we got some broke pistons. Look at that. There we go. Looks like it's about to come out. There we go. Geez, we just need to send this out and have it rebuilt. And there's nothing left at the end of that stem. Well, surprisingly, the other tops of the pistons look just fine on both sides. It's just this side. So this one, it will move back and forth like the rings might be broke, but you see this crud here in the combustion chamber, which means, you know, that's in the oil because it fell through that hole there, I'm sure. But so I tried to fish the stem out of there with no luck. So but surprisingly, the cylinder walls look fairly good. Let's see. Let me get this wiped out real good for you so you can see it better. I really expect them to be all beat up and in rough shape, but they're really not. There's a few dings in. It's not something, you got some scores here and there we can see. It does show up. See the scores up and down a few places. I mean, this block could be fixed. It could be bored and be alright. You know, completely rebuilding this one. I don't know if that's really cost effective here. But, alright, let's look at the head. Alright, so this is the passenger side head. I took it out with the exhaust manifold intact because these will get replaced anyways because they're garbage. Now, I took the cam loose so there wouldn't be any pressure on the valve spring, so all these are going to flip over and fall out, which don't matter because they're going to garbage. Yeah, this head is probably junk. And you can see it beat the crap out of the valve stem guide, the valve guide. It beat this part of the head out. You know, that's not horrible for considering it was a whole valve in there. That's really not that bad. I don't know. I suppose I could take it to the machine shop and see what they say. They've probably fixed worse. You know, the other ones look fine. So, I guess there's no question we know what happened. So we were pretty close when we were kind of guesstimating, or, you know, doing a guess diagnostics. And look at there. You can see all the oil in the exhaust manifold. That means that exhaust is probably filled full of oil and will smoke for a long time. Let me flip this one over and show you this. I mean, they're all burning oil, but man, no shrapnel went through this side at all. That's pretty nice. So that would be a salvageable head, I would think. I wouldn't use this cam because, like I was saying before, if you look here, we have metal transfer. Whether that is the cam coming apart or is that the roller lifters, the followers, losing their chrome. Regardless, man, I gotta tell you that I'm glad I checked it for oiling because, you know, this really looks like lack of oil. I mean, maybe it's not, but you see these rollers. That one's tight. This one's losing its material. Yeah, which came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know, but you know, we're not going to go this far and not replace all these. So all these cam followers will go in the scrap bin, and so will the lash adjusters, so will this cam, and at the very least we're going to have a head. Well, machined maybe. We'll send both heads out, have them machined. I guess I'm talking foolish. What I mean to say is, we'll pull the motor out, because that cylinder is going to have attention, and they'll have to look at it and see if it'll actually hone out. Now, when you get this far in, it's like, you know, is it really worth the repair? I can buy this from Ford as a remanufactured long block with 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. Comes timing cover on, the valve covers are on, the oil pan's on, the oil filter adapter's on, the water pump's on. Comes with the oil filter, and what else? New studs and all the heads, and that's $4,200. I'll bet you by the time I would go through all this and do the bottom end, you know, you're not going to go this far, pull the crank out and not do bearings. You're just too far in. If you got to pull it out and you got to take the crank out anyways, we're going to check the crank, and we're going to have to bore it. You know, now we're doing main bearings, rod bearings, resize the caps, the rods, to make sure they're okay. If they'll resize them, we may have to replace them. They're fracture rods, so they may not resize those, or they may check them. And then, you know, I'm not going to trust that oil pump. So, you know, it's like a complete rebuild, you know, remanufacture of an engine. And I'm really not sure it's worth it. I think it might be better suited to just put another engine in, like I was thinking. Take the 5.4 out of the F250 dually that I did, and alright, so that's where we're at. It's all tore down. Now it's time to make some decisions. Regardless, it's got to come out, but I'm going to stop here because one, it's hot, I'm tired, I'm ready for a drink again, and we're getting kind of long. So probably on the next one we'll get the motor out, get it torn down, see what the bottom end looks like, go from there. And really, we're at that point, it's probably just for entertainment value, because I can't see us rebuilding this engine. I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean, at least I know that all the other 7 cylinders make good compression. So, alright, I'm going to leave you at that. Like I always say, if you guys like what we're doing, give us these thumbs up. You know where that thumbs up I'm talking about? That's the like or the dislike. You know, that's up in the right hand corner, or the lower right hand corner of the video, right underneath the screen. Hit that if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button, and leave your comments down below, guys, and we will catch you on the next one. My wife was busy at work here, and oh yeah, look at that. She got almost every single stain out. They're still a little wet, so you might see some wet spots yet, but this doesn't show up as good on camera as it does in person, but I can tell you this, take my word for it, it looks great. Yeah, that is really nice. I'm going to go the other side. I think the sun is kind of shining the other way a little bit better this afternoon. Hey, look, some more wind. Now, I know we were talking, had a couple guys comment they'd like to know what she uses and how she does it and all that stuff, and you know, maybe we can talk her into that. We'll see. But man, look how nice them door panels came out. This is one thing she does extremely well. Look at that dash panel, that airbag where all that sticky was is gone, and all the coffee stains are gone, and man, it looks good. We're still wet here. She's working on one little stain, she said, that kind of reoccurs, and it kind of happens sometimes. But yeah, what a nice job. Let me close that door. That's a little better. She got the headliner. Remember them spots I showed you on the headliner? She got all those out. I'm telling you, she does such a nice job. Driver's seat, passenger seat, all that stuff turned out really well. Alright guys.